You're listening to 90.3 KEXP, where the music matters. And this is Audio Oasis, the Northwest Music Show. Tonight we're celebrating Barsouk's 15th anniversary. I'm your guest host tonight with John Roderick. I'm Josh Rosenfeld. And now it's time for a special, very special, live performance from the Revolutionary Hydra, first in many years. Thank you so much for doing this. 7 years? Time is flying by and we're all getting old. The Revolutionary Hydra on KEXP.
That's not the point. That's not the
Good gracious! The revolutionary Hydra here on KEXP, one of the great Pacific Northwest bands of all time. Thanks, gentlemen. It's very nice to see you all again. It's been a little while.
Hi, Josh.
Hi, Joe. Oh, hey, I should introduce the band. To my left, Joseph Chilcote. Is it fair to say that you are one of the founding members of the Revolutionary Hydra?
Sure.
Singer-guitarist.
Oh, good. Thank you, John.
Yeah.
To his left, Jay Chilcote. Any relationship between you two?
Coincidental.
Okay, that's crazy. It's really, really crazy. On the playing bass with a vengeance and a fury. Robbie Scrocky on the drums.
Hello.
And Barton Sharp.
Hey, Josh.
Hi. You're playing guitar again, aren't you?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Also on vocals.
And
Barton guitarist, vocalist.
it's so good that John is here to keep me on track. I'm gonna pass the mic over to you to maybe ask a question now. Do you want to ask any questions of the Revolutionary Hydra?
There are so many questions I want to ask the Revolutionary Hydra.
Why don't we find out where their name came from? I suspect that it's literary in origin.
They are a very literary band and a very erudite band, although not a particularly loquacious band in interviews I've found over the years. Tell us where the name Revolutionary Hydra comes from, Chilcotes.
Came from came from a small book called Anna Karenina.
Tell us more.
It's a fast read.
Is that like a thing I can get on tape? Is that a book I can get on tape?
Maybe. I think there's a Cliff Notes version. That's what I read.
I believe Patrick Stewart is reading it.
Oh, good.
in the book on tape.
And how did Anna Karenina influence your art?
Jay.
Well, back in Bellingham, we had just this kind of circle of other musicians and friends, and I read that phrase in a book, and it seemed appropriate because the Hydra, it was just three of us, Bart and me and Joe, but we had a rotating cast of people, so the Hydra, sort of many-headed Hydra thing, it seemed appropriate.
Let's talk about some of those people. There have been approximately 157 people in the Revolutionary Hydra over the years, if I'm not mistaken.
And one robot.
There was a robot too?
Chip.
Oh.
But he doesn't get credits, right?
No.
No.
Mm-mm.
I think he engineered our second CD.
So let's just get a rundown from you guys. Who's been in this band? And don't forget anybody, because they're going to be really offended if you do.
I guess Ben Gibbard was our first member. He showed us how to play bass, and he probably was instrumental in most of the good stuff on the early years. And I guess Nathan Good came along, and he started playing drums with us before Robbie.
Nathan was the first drummer of Death Cab for Cutie for those scoring the game at home.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to call bingo in a minute.
Who else?
Well, Chris Walla was our resident engineer. We kept him, tied up in the basement, and he recorded all of our stuff.
I'm starting to see a theme here.
Yeah. Was he also in Death Cab for Cutie and remains so to this day?
I think
Indeed.
early on we realized there are these guys who were pretty good musicians, and it was in our interest to have them do as much of the work as possible.
Well, let's talk about Bellingham for a minute, because from our perspective down here in the burbs in Seattle, it felt, I think, and John, I think you could probably corroborate this, it felt like the epicenter of good music from the mid to late 90s was in Bellingham, Washington. And it felt and it felt, I think, also to us like you guys were kind of the center of the center in a way too, with what was going on at Elsinore and the other bands up there. Tell us, what was it like in Bellingham in the mid to late 90s? How did it feel to be the center of the musical universe?
Well, it felt great. We were, just playing music with friends, making cassettes with friends, and, thinking that we were going to be playing music with friends and making cassettes for the rest of our lives. in Bellingham, Washington, where there are no jobs for adults. So reality set in, and there was a mass migration south.
When did that migration begin?
99, 98?
I think I was the first in late '97, and I'm always the trailblazer. So
That's true.
I came to Seattle in '97, late '97. But so Bellingham is obviously a college town, and so there's this sort of transitory nature to it. Things go in cycles up there.
There was a moment in 1999 where it felt like Bellingham was colonizing Seattle culturally. What was that feeling like, coming to the city, coming to the big town that already had a music scene and finding a receptive audience here? The big city.
It was tough. We were eating top ramen every day. No, we had a few shows at the Crocodile, and just you can imagine our eyes were just. I think we played there with Death Cab one time, and they happened to bring in a whole lot of audience members, and our eyes just sort of popped out of our heads because we weren't used to that at all. But yeah, we just made do, had to find practice space, and we made new friends, tried to get a new community going, or insert ourselves into the existing one.
So musically, when people think of Seattle in the 90s, I think they tend to think about grunge. Did you guys feel like the music that you were making was in any way a reaction to the prevalence of grunge and the kind of garage rock happening on Estrus Records in Bellingham around that time? Were you conscious of wanting to be different from what's happening in those realms?
I wouldn't say consciously. Estrus and bands like Crayon were huge influences for us in Bellingham at the time. But we were just doing our own limited thing with our making our own references.
I think indie rock lends itself very well to very cheap instruments and amps and sort of a shambling, low amateur approach, and that was great for us.
That was our perception when you guys arrived here in Seattle. Who are these children with the toy instruments, and why are they getting all these shows? Speaking of which, would you play some more of your spectacular revolutionary Hydra music for us?
Yes, but the two brothers Chilcote are going to switch their instruments right quick.
That's a very Bellingham in 1999 thing to do. Switch your instruments.
Totally.
Does someone have a broken toy keyboard that they're going to employ?
Do we?
All right.
Okay.
Aces up your sleeve, are you cheating on those gentlemen from Memphis? Can you recall some finer points of the law? You're just a fancy child lawyer, and you're dating Di and Sawyer. Cats and dogs and cats and acrobats, and I can't describe your special kind of vibe. You throw some mighty fine juju, and you're creating my special walk to the sunset.
The revolutionary Hydra, arisen again.
Awesome.
Here on KEXP. Thanks so much, you guys. That is very, very exciting for me to hear after all these years.
We should mention that song is the A-side to our best-selling Barsuk 7-inch.
It is, and I was actually just about to say that that song is the connection, the only real official connection between Barsuk and the Revolutionary Hydra in terms of official releases. And that single, which is now sadly out of print due to its alarming popularity, I'm very, very grateful for its existence in the catalog of the label.
Yeah, we persist.
Was that the single that came padlocked? And no, that was a different single.
It was very elaborately packaged. There is some kind of buzzing sound happening. Is there a professional musician? Oh,
It's art.
there is a the days when everybody knew how to work their instruments in their gear, maybe a little bit past.
Is one of your arms tingling? Can you smell smoke?
Oh my goodness. From 1995 to 2002 or 3-ish, you guys cranked out a tremendous amount of really, really good music. It has made my life and the lives of many, many other people that much better. And I really thank you for coming here. Does anybody have anything else they'd like to say at this moment about the Revolutionary Hydra?
Just all hail Josh Rosenfeld. You're the best.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
No, all hail John Roderick. You're the best.
I am the best. But that was fantastic. I'm sitting here like basically in the middle of the Revolutionary Hydra for those songs, and that was a great experience. This was the sound of the label that I wanted to be on. And that's why I ended up on Barsuk. Like, this was the music that was new to me at that time. So thanks, bros.
I do think that we would be remiss to not mention that if you want to see a website that has not been updated since 2009, you need to go to revolutionaryhydra.com and check it out. You can buy most of the releases, I think, are available there and on Bandcamp, and there really is a tremendous amount of music to be had there.
Plus some books and stickers and other things, right?
These guys.
Sure. Yeah. Please. I have a closet full of CDs, books, stickers, t-shirts.
All right. Well, you just heard a very special live performance from the Revolutionary Hydra on listener-powered 90.3 KEXP.